Ah, Decade, why do you must confuse me so? Honore Decado. Hey, what's up you guys? This is Sentai22 here. How you guys all doing? Okay, so I've been recently rewatching Kamen Rider Decade for the past couple of days, and I realize, and I probably bet a lot of you guys already know this, but Kamen Rider Decade is probably the most confusing Kamen Rider series that I've ever seen. I mean, sure, there have been other Kamen Rider series that have a lot of huge plot holes, but oh boy, Kamen Rider takes the cake entirely. Now, I originally watched Kamen Rider Decade when it first aired back in 2009 in Japan, and you know, a lot of people were ecstatic when it first showed up. I mean, you know, since it was the 10th anniversary of the revival of the Kamen Rider franchise, the Heisei era pretty much, and started with Kamen Rider Kuga. And then 10 years later, we see the success, and now, you know, with Wizard and beyond, I think this series will be here for this franchise will be here for the long haul. Now, again, we were ecstatic, I myself essentially, because when we saw the first photos of Decade and they had some, you know, the previous writers in the background, we were excited that these guys were coming back again, the original actors were coming back, so like, yeah, you know what I mean? But unfortunately, our hopes just turned into disappointments when we realized that all of the original actors that played the Heisei era Kamen Riders were being replaced by different actors, essentially calling them the AU characters, the alternate universe of the Kamen Riders. Which, don't get me wrong, I understand it from a director's point of view, the producer's point of view. I mean, if you try to bring back a lot of the former actors, the current writer, the new writer, Kamen Rider Decade would just completely get shadowed by the former writers. So it makes a lot of sense if you think about it. Now you guys already know the story. Kamen Rider Decade, aka Tsukasa, you know, finds this belt out of nowhere. Well, actually, Natsumi finds the belt, and he becomes Kamen Rider Decade and just pretty much kicks the crap out of all the monsters from different Kamen Rider series. He gains all these cards by eventually encouraging the AU riders to, you know, believe in themselves, obviously, and then all of a sudden the cards that were gray activate, and you know, Kamen Rider Decade can use them. Now, you know, it turns pretty good at the beginning of the series, but it just turns piss poor at the end, where essentially Kamen Rider Decade pretty much becomes the villain because the worlds are fusing into one, and the Kamen Riders have to stop them in order to save their worlds, because, you know, every time Kamen Rider Decade goes to these different worlds, the other worlds get destroyed. This is something that I did not get. Now, the positive of Kamen Rider Decade is the AU worlds. Now, even though most fans don't like to admit it, I think the AU worlds are really interesting, and it really tells a different story. Now, sure, they're no substitute to the original Kamen Rider series actors or series characters, but it's a completely different story, and it's, you know, it's a really different take on the Kamen Rider series from the past. Personally, I do like the Kabuto world from Kamen Rider Decade, and because Kamen Rider Kabuto was my first series, and even though the original AU Soji isn't nowhere near as perfect as the Great Tendo Soji, it still has that kindness and that strength to still protect, and, you know, protect his sister Mayu in a way that Tendo protects Hyori, even though both of them were worms. And of course, and I also like the Hibiki world. You know, in the Hibiki world, they finally made Azumu into full-fledged Omi, whereas in the original, they did not do so much. Did Azumu in the original Azumu, I know it was I know it was played by a different kid, but did Azumu in the original Hibiki became a full-fledged Omi? Please let me know, put it in the comments. And I really like the AU world of Fies. It kind of reminds me of Spider-Man in a way. I forgot his name in the AU world Fies. It sort of reminds me of Peter Parker with the camera and all that stuff. And because he's in a high school, so it's pretty interesting series. And all of them have a really great story, really great ending. Unfortunately, Decade does not, which I will tell you guys in the negatives of Kamen Rider Decade. And the also negative is the final forms. I think they're unnecessary, but what are you gonna do? Toy sales. But let's just go to this Decade story itself. I mean, the original Wataru, Kamen Rider Kiba, becomes a messenger and telling him that you must go to these different worlds in order to gain access to the rider powers in Kamen Rider Decade. Then all of a sudden he changes his story. You're supposed to destroy the AU riders in order to save the world. And I'm like, wait a minute, you didn't tell me this. What? And because of this, all of the worlds that Tsukasa traveled through started to get destroyed because of Decade's actions. Even though he didn't do anything, it just basically encouraged these guys to believe in themselves, or help them out in a certain way. That was just confusing as heck. And then Wataru at the end, just runs at him, and then it just fades to black, and then all of a sudden probably the original writers are coming after him now. And the movie just makes it even worse, because it just makes, and I don't know why, it just makes the Kamen Riders kind of like the villains in a way. They're trying to chase this Kamen Rider down even though he didn't do anything. These Kamen Riders are chasing him as some kind of a wanted criminal even though he didn't do anything. And Natsumi, the female character, was like, why are you destroying the riders? It's like, are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? These riders are after my ass. These the Kamen Rider Mafia want to rider kick me. They want to vent me. They want to freaking destroy my ass. I did not do anything. And then, of course, Natsumi finally becomes Kamen Rider. Well, she becomes Kamen Rider Kivala, and Tsukasa lets her destroy him, and then the worlds just come out, and Wataru explains, because creation cannot come without destruction. And then Wataru tells him Decade does not have a story. That is cold. Really cold. Not only that they made the Heisei riders look like such douchebags, but they killed essentially one person that did not do anything wrong. He was just passing through just like any other Kamen Rider. But yet he had to accept the fact that he is the destroyer of all worlds. And that was kind of confusing. And it's even more confusing is that in the end, we don't know who this guy is. We don't know who Tsukasa is. We don't know where the Decade Belt came from. We don't know how in the world does Nasumi know who Tsukasa is. It's just a lot of plot holes that are just dug really, really low to the ground. But don't worry, he does come back to life with the magic of memories. Yay. It's the most stupidest way to come back. It's like a bad Disney movie. This series was just poorly executed to the very end. Now, it kind of dabbles into this what if. What if Kamen Rider Decade had 50 episodes? Now, Kamen Rider Decade has 31 episodes, which makes it the second Kamen Rider series next to Amazon to have the more shortage of episodes. The reason for this is because Toei was going to this transitional period with the Kamen Rider franchise. Originally, the Kamen Rider series used to end in January when a new one begins. Now, a new one begins the old Kamen Rider series ends in August, and a new one begins in September, which kind of works because it's almost up to the holiday season. So the Japanese parents will buy the new toys for the kids. In a way, it kind of works instead of just releasing a new line after Christmas. So, but we're not talking about that. We're talking about kind of the what if Kamen Rider decade exceeded 31 episodes and went just straight to 50. Would we go to the other Rider worlds, like the worlds of Super 1 or Kamen Rider 1, Kamen Rider 2, just like we did with Kamen Rider Black and Kamen Rider Amazon? Would we dabble into the original Rider worlds and bring back a lot of the old actors to come back to do the original Kamen Riders? I mean, there's so many possibilities, but unfortunately, Toei decided to end this series very short, and it's kind of a shame. I think this series had a lot of potential at the beginning, but at the very end, it was just a mess. So, anyway, guys, what do you think of Kamen Rider Decade? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Which Kamen Rider AU world did you like? Did you like the Final Form ride? The Final Form ride gimmick? Please let me know in the comments anything. This is Sentai 22, and thanks for watching.